Okay, so this course is going to be within 4 weeks. We're going to have this training every Saturday for the next 4 weeks. It's going to be every Saturday for this month. And someone asked me like, okay, I don't know if the person is on the group now. If the person has joined the meeting, she asked me, I know that some trainings, some free trainings are just to get introduction, just to do some basics, and then at the end of the day, you have a paid class. Well, fortunately or fortunately, I'm not upselling anything. Okay, this is what it is. And so this is supposed to be a paid class. And so this is what I will be using as my testimonial in the paid class. Okay, so this is what I actually want to give out in a paid class. I implore you to actually take it seriously. Okay, so it's 4 weeks. The first week is introduction to graphic design. And why this is very important, remember when I introduced myself, I said that I got to know graphic design from 2018. Before now, what I was doing was playing with the tools. So I see CorelDRAW. I'll just play with tools. I do some ID card, and then other things like that. I will do design a certificate and then give it to clients. But if you ask me to come up with ideas, create something fresh, I do not have the knowledge. I didn't even know what's called the principles of graphic design. So I was just designing. Okay. Not until 2018 where I got to know, okay, there's something called principles of graphic design. There's something called elements of graphic design. And that was what opened my eyes into what graphic design actually is. Okay. So it's very important. This is the foundation of graphic design. If you don't know design principles, you don't know graphic design principles, then it's as good as not knowing design, because what you'll be doing will be playing with tools. Okay. So I had a friend who approached me and said, look, I use Photoshop. Okay, so if you don't know Photoshop is actually a design tool. So lucky I use Photoshop, but you use CorelDRAW. The reason why I'm not good at graphic design is because I'm using Photoshop. And I just smiled within me. I just smiled because he was better than me. I don't know how to explain to him, or I think I wasn't in a good position to explain at that time. But it's not about the tool. It's about understanding this foundational knowledge. Okay, I tell many people I've trained before, what I tell them is this: if a new design tool comes, please, I really need feedback. Can you guys still hear me? Am I still communicating?
Yes, we can. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. So I tell most of my students that if a new design tool comes out today, and the name of design tool is maybe, let me for some Olumide Graphics, that's the name of design tool. All I need to know is to find out this design element, this design principles, use these design principles. I think I'll come to that. I'm going too fast. I'll come to that later. So week 1 will be introduction to graphic design. And week 2 will be the graphic Canva interface. So we need to explore the interface of Canva. Where are the tools? Where are other things? We need to find out where these things are. And then I also teach you the design process. Please, which person who just came in? I also teach you the design process. So if you have to come up with a new design, and why Canva is what Canva has done is that it gives you templates. So you just play around with the template. But what about if you want something unique? You do not want the template that on Canva, but you want to come up, you have a design concept with you. What a design process, okay? And if you have a good design process, you've known a good design process, you can always come up with a good design. You will always be innovative because you have a design process. All you have to do is to fall back to your design process. You get? So I've come up with an output, and maybe the client doesn't like it, or something happens, or I want to come up with something else. All I need to do, go back to my design process, and then come up with another design. Then week 3 will also give you banner. I will start designing, good design proper, start designing banner designs, and also week 4 we go into document design, trying to design some documents. Okay, so in each of these weeks, I'll be giving assignments. Trust me, again, to my design journey. Another thing that also helped me was that I have somebody who could spot, or let's say a mentor, okay, who could spot my mistakes, because you would design, you've learned this thing, and which is one of the 4 drawbacks when you go to YouTube. You go to YouTube and then you watch YouTube tutorials. What you just do is what we call la cram la pour. If those of us in school who know what it means to cram, you just see a design, you follow exactly what the person is teaching, but you don't know the reason behind what it's doing. At the end of the day, you just have an output, input and output without having a design process, okay? Or you do not know what the person is doing. So one thing I want to do in this class is to help you. So you, after giving you designs, after giving you assignment to do, you do them, you do the best you can do. And then what I'm doing is, okay, see, this is where you're doing wrong. This thing, you've missed these principles, or okay, you've not done this one right. And then you get to get corrections. I can say for certain that you won't find these in most of the design classes you attend. You will not find this. Okay, there may be, but I doubt there are so many of them. Or if you're to go to YouTube. So this is also an opportunity, and I'd like many of us to make use of it. And I think the fewer the better, because I found out that 37 persons in the group, but only 20 persons have actually filled the form, which means only 20 persons actually wants to do the assignment. But I know again, a lot of persons will not take it serious. So if I only find 10 persons who are serious, I think that would be nice. Okay. If at the end of 1 month, 10 persons are able to come up with good designs, I've learned something, and I can tell for themselves, yeah, I've learned something. I think that is actually good. So let's dive in. Introduction to graphic design. What is graphic design? Okay. So I tell people, and this is my own definition, okay? What is graphic design? You will never find this definition anywhere, but maybe it may look like this slightly. But graphic design to me is a form of visual communication through the use of design elements, following design principles to solve a problem, okay? So I made mention of a few things there, visual communication. So it's another form of communication. So writers, they write, but designers, they are communicating through visuals, you get? And then it is through the use of design element. Mark that word, design element. We'll come back to that, design element, and following design principles. I can't stress this enough, design principles, okay? To solve a problem, okay? So I want to design for, so I want to give an example of a problem. So I want to design for, I have a program coming, and it's for children who wants to go into tech between the ages. Please mute the person. Co-host, can you please mute the person? So the program is for children who wants to go into tech from the ages of 6 to say 12. Okay. So actually, this is just something coming off the top of my head. I'm asked to design a flyer that would help to drive in, say, 1,000 students, so that at the end of the day, they could maybe convert 100 persons who will pay for the class. So I'm asked to come up with a design. That is a problem, right? And so what I'm doing, I'll look for how to visually communicate this and then solve that problem of bringing 1,000 people into the class, or 1,000 leads. Let's say 1,000 leads that may be converted. That at the end of the day, maybe 100 people will be converted for the class. Okay, so that's actually solving a problem. So that is what graphic design is a visual communication through the use of design element, following design principles to solve a problem. You are solving a problem. Okay. So let's look at these design elements. What are these design elements of design? Okay. Now, before I go in, I like giving this analogy. Okay. And so I think, yeah. So I like giving this analogy before I go into this. For those of us, we've eaten a goosey soup, eating a goosey soup. So on the chat now, tell me what are the ingredients when cooking a goosey soup? What are the ingredients? Just put them. I'll be reading it. Just put them. Egusi, okay. Onions, okay. Palm oil, okay. Vegetable, pepper, pumpkin, melon, seed, fish, pepper. Okay, good. Thank you. So we are following. Now, when cooking this egusi soup, and I'm using this analogy from one of my mentors, John Obidi. He likes using this analogy. So when cooking egusi soup, you are not going to put all these ingredients on the pot and then just light up the the stove or whatever thing you're using and then start cooking. There are timing. You have to grind some ingredients. You have to put them at different times, right? You have to mix some of them. So this is you following some following principles. You don't just pack them. Also in design, when you're designing, there are bits and pieces. There are these ingredients that you put up to make these designs. Okay, and this is what we refer to as elements of design. And these elements are: 1, line; 2, shape; color; texture; type; space; and image. These 7 elements are very important. Okay, and you understanding. So one thing is for you to understand what is the use of these elements, and then how to use these elements. Okay, you need to know the importance of the element and then how to use them. Okay, so the first one here is line, and then you find that you see that I'm actually bringing out these elements. All these are elements I use actually in my design. That's design, the poster I use for the class to publicize this class. Those are those elements I'm trying to bring out here. So what are lines used for? They are used to add, they used to add structure to a composition. It can be used for framing. You can use it to divide information. You can use lines to draw the attention to a specific information. You can use lines to decorate, to illustrate, and present information in infographics. Okay, so let me quickly do something. So look at this design now. Oh, I think I can still do that. So I'll be coming back to this. So look at this design. Let me come back here. Look at this design. Look at the lines, right? You can see this line, right? The lines I use. So tell me in the group, what do you think this line is doing now? What is this line doing in this looking at this design? What is this line doing? Yes, looking at the group. I'm looking at the chat to demarcate. Thank you. To demarcate. Any other person? Calling attention to the timing of the section. Okay, connect items, break information. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's also look at this. Oh, by the way, this design was done in Canva. Everything here was done in Canva, but this was not done in Canva. But then let's look at this design. This other one at the right. Look at these lines. So see, there are lines here. What do you think these lines are doing? What do you think this line is? What's the function and the purpose of this line here? To segment information. You understand? To segment information. Okay, so I'll go on. I'll continue. So that is what it was used for. Okay, it was used actually to segment information. Okay, now also another element again we'll see there is colors. Okay, now colors helps to drive emotions. Okay, now this is another part we'll take our time to actually understand the different colors. I don't want to load us with too much information, talking about primary colors, secondary colors, and what tertiary colors, analogous colors, and every other details that are involved in colors. But what I will do is to tell you how to choose color. I think that is what is most important, how to choose color, what colors are useful, and how to choose them. Okay. So colors, there are many uses of colors, but I'll just stick to these 3. Colors are used for aesthetics, right? To beautify things. You understand? You're designing maybe for children. You want to use colors, popping out colors. You can't just stick with maybe 2 colors or just use black and white, because children has these vibes of something being colorful. So for aesthetics, also for branding. Okay, so many brands associate their brand, use colors to help for their brand identity. Okay. Also for emphasis, you understand, colors also used to draw attention, and also for emphasis. Okay, so there's this question I always ask, and this is, so you go to, let's say you're blindfolded, and then you went to a bank. Now, and then you open your eyes, but you didn't see the name of the bank, but there's something you saw the color, you saw this color on the walls. It was used in painting the walls. It was also used in their branding, maybe on their t-shirt, and the color was orange. Now tell me on the chart, what bank do you think that would be? GT Bank, you get GTB Bank, you get. So what about if it was blue? What bank would that be? Keystone, okay. First Bank, okay. I can affiliate blue to First Bank. Okay, so you see that colors is also used for branding. All right. Okay, so let's look at other elements. Okay, also, can you also just think from the design, my own design, the design I use for the class? What do you think? This blue, why do you think I use this blue? I use this blue. What do you think? Just a guess. You may be correct, may not be correct. Okay, nobody's saying anything. Okay, I will move on. Colors are calm. Okay, that's good. That's true. Okay, but that was not only the reason. Branding. Thank you. So I want to associate, the message was calmly get to people. Yeah, so I want to associate I'm trying to build my brand around blue, using blue as my brand. So that was one of the reasons why I used this blue. Okay, so we need to understand this while using colors, also for it to invoke emotions. February 14 is coming, and then you want to do a design. It's obvious you should be using red as the major color in your design. You get, so it depends on the emotions, and these are the things you need to put in place while you're designing. Okay, so shapes, again, I use different shapes in this design. There are a lot of shapes I use here, and shape is also one of the important elements you see in graphic design. So to draw attention, to hit visual interest, to create a theme or mode, to symbolize idea or concept. Get, so there are different uses. These are different uses. And again, you can also look at my design and see that the elements, the shapes I use, actually were used intentionally and for different purposes. Okay, so I'll quickly move on. Again, another element you see is texture. Okay, again, at the right hand side, you see the texture I use. I like to call texture background. Okay, to add, so texture helps to also create an emotion. You understand? Texture also helps to create emotions. You see, it creates interest and depth. When you design and you just leave it flat, yeah, it's good. I wish to please that you share the presentation. Okay, we'll think about that, but that was not part of it. But let's go on. So texture helps to create emotion. Yeah, it helps to create interest and depth. So you just have a design and you leave it flat. But when you put in a background, it's texture, but I like to call it background. You keep putting a background, it creates this form of interest. And also, where people get it wrong is using a background that is so busy. Okay, we'll talk about that. So we'll talk about that at the course, during the course of the training. It's also used to evoke emotion, to evoke a mood or atmosphere. It also adds to putting visual variety. Okay, so it just gives it some form of spice. You want to spice it up. There's some person just, this design looks flat. You can introduce a background, and then it will just pile it over like, wow. That's what texture does. Okay, and you see that this is what I use. This was the background I used. What I did was I reduced the transparency. Okay, so type is another important element. Okay, that you see in designs. Okay, emphasis is used for emphasis, and almost if you look at the design I did, that design again, I wish I'll be coming back to it again. You see that there are a lot of type, right? The text, when you say type, mean text. And then so we need to also know how do we use this type. Okay. So emphasis need to be there. It creates emphasis. It's used for hierarchy. We'll talk about hierarchy soon. And also for mood. Okay. So let me quickly talk about this mood, which I've seen. So I'm designing for a children banner. I don't know. I would just like to use that. I'm designing for a children banner. The text I use in design, say, for an official banner in the office for official reason, will not be the same text I will use for a children banner. I'll need something that is playful, something that evokes that emotion of being, of excitement, you understand? So type is also important. Then another element, which is another important element, but people do not see it. In short, a lot of designs I see neglect this element, space. Space is so important. Okay, so what is space actually? You see this border or this distance is always called shape. It is not the line, but the distance between the frame and the text is actually the space. So it is very important between the space between one element and another element, but people do not take it into consideration, and you just design, put things up and down, and then at the end of the day, you have a design that is so clumsy. So it helps to establish hierarchy. It helps to improve readability. It improves readability. So when you take into consideration space, so space is more like, it's not something you actually maybe an item you add like the other ones like text and shape, but it's something you put into consideration, improving readability. It also add visual interest. Okay. And then image. So the image there, and that is me, myself, like someone said, my handsome face. So what does it do? It helps for visual interest. It also helps for communication, to emotion, to also for emotional impact. Okay. And also there are a whole lot of reasons. I try to make this slide so short, and then that's why I use these three uses. Okay, so there are a whole lot of uses for images, and there's one brand which is Coca-Cola. They use images a lot. In short, images, when I say is the most important, I won't say it's the most important, but it's so important. When you introduce image, and which another thing I'll talk about is using image that has good quality. Okay, so quickly I'll just share something. I was asked to design a birthday banner, and then I was given an image, very blur. I knew this image was blur. I objected. This image is blur. Give me a good image. They said this is the only image they have. So I designed, what I did was, okay, put the image inside a box. I didn't want to blow it up because it would become blur. So just to hide this blurriness, I put it inside a box. They rejected the design. It wasn't good. Stuff, there are different reasons. So I still objected. I need an image, a good image. So at the end of the day, they gave me a good image. I don't know where they got a good image. And then I could play around with the image because this image has a good quality. So I could play around with the image. And at the end of the day, they themselves like the design. So the images of a product, you are putting in something. Don't look for images that have low kilobytes. Look for images that has good resolution. When you place it on your design, it makes your design interesting. Okay. So now we've talked about these elements. Okay. So I just want to do something now and show you that, hey, all your designs are actually made up of elements. So I'm going to bring up that design. This is my design. My screen showing. So my screen is showing. Give me a minute. Yeah. So I want to do something now. Can you see my screen? Please tell me what you're seeing on my screen now, just so we're on the same page. What can you see on my screen? Yeah, but what are you seeing on my screen? Is it the poster or my presentation slide? Is it the poster, the flyer, or the presentation slide? What are you seeing on the screen?
I see the flyer.
Okay.
And
Okay, fine. Still loading. So I want to show you that this design you're seeing is all made up of elements. What you're seeing is all elements, like I just showed you. So I want to be deleting them one after the other. You see? So all of them, they are just elements that came in. So your design is not far from that. Elements, I'm just put it together. This thing is not loading correctly. So this is my image, but it's not loading clearly. But let me just go on. Okay, so this is what an image, right? This is also, you see, so all these are elements I brought in together. Fine. Now let's move on. It looks kind of slow. So let's move on and let's move on into the principle. So when you are adding this element, remember that analogy I talked about, the egusi soup, right? Despite the fact that you have all these ingredients, okay, you don't just pack all of them into the pot and then light up the gas cooker and start cook and just put everything, put water and cover your pots, go to sleep and wake up. No, there's a time for all of these things, okay? And then for each of them, maybe if you are good in chemistry, you could say some of them, maybe there's sublimation going on, there's sieving going on. There's a lot of things going on. You have to grind your crayfish and put all that things in place to have a good egusi soup, right? Those are the principles. Another analogy I use again is for someone who is creating a furniture. So your chair, if you look at your chair too, your chair is made up of some elements, bits and pieces put together. So you have the nails, you have the leg of the chair, you have maybe a foam on it. By putting these things together, you have to follow a principle. You have to maybe sandpaper place, you have to do some measurements, placing things together. This principle is very important. I can't stress this enough. It is very important, okay? It was the day I understood there is this principle and obeying this principle. So again, this principle does not just apply to graphic design. So you are doing UI, UX, you are doing web design, even architecture. These principles are important, okay? So the principle may vary, but they have most like similarities. So if there's anything you would take out of at the end of this class, take these principles, build on them, learn them, could become good at them, understand where they are missing out, understand when you say design, oh, this design lacks this principle. This is not happening. This design, this is what is making design not look interesting, or what is lacking in design. So first year we have hierarchy. And because of time, we may not be able to cover all of them. I wanted us to cover all of them, and then in the next class, we would start talking about the Canva interface. But see, though we're talking about theory, I'll stress it. This is important. Understand these elements and principles. Believe you me, when we start designing, you will find design so interesting. Okay, so let's move on. We have hierarchy. Okay, so what is hierarchy? Hierarchy simply means the arrangement of visual elements in form of importance. Okay, let me give you an example. So look at this now. I think some of us may have seen this before, but for those of us who are novice, we may not have seen this before. Okay, so read it. Tell me what is going on. If you've gotten the logic of what is going on, just type it on. Read what you see on the slide, and then tell me what is happening. What are you seeing? What is happening on the slide? Yeah, I'm waiting for us to respond. Can everyone still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so if you do not know what is going on, you can just speak up. I don't know what's going on. Though I definitely am going to explain, but if you know what's going on, okay, it's likely that one we will read the bolding text first before the smaller text. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. So what is happening here is this. Let me explain what is happening here. So this is what is happening. This part that is bolding, you will read this first. Is what comes to what you see first when this slide was presented. Yeah, there are a lot of other things, but this is what was called at first, right? And then the next thing is what this, and then you will read this line. Most likely you may come here or you will come here. You will probably read this before the paragraph. And then this, you will go back to read this body copy if you want to know more. And this might probably be the last thing. Okay, so hierarchy is so important in your design. You can't put away hierarchy. In short, you can't neglect hierarchy. It is so important. Again, back to my analogy, when you're cooking, you don't just put this ingredient together. This element, these bits and pieces of design, these bits, these lines, this image, color, every other thing you're putting together. When you're putting them, you have to take notice of what hierarchy. What do you want to call out first? What do you want to have to be giving more details? You understand? That is the essence of hierarchy. And you do that interestingly, so you give one element more weight, make it more bigger, because this is what you want your audience to see first. It's like an experience. You're telling your audience, go this way, go in this manner. Okay. So quickly, I'll do what I did again. Coming back to this design, and ask me, what element did I give error? So at this point now, I'm assuming everybody knows what is element. So when I say elements, I'm talking about what? Line, shapes, image, and the other things. Okay. So I would like to know, what elements did I give more hierarchy here? Yes, I'm looking at the chart. What elements did I give hierarchy to? So if it's a type, just say type, then put in the text. Okay. If it's whatever image on the Canva design, true, that's right. Revit, you are correct. So what again? Type text, okay. Which of the text? Which of the text? There are a lot of text here. Hierarchy is actually the principle. So I'm asking what? Yes, Ola said image and type. So Canva design, yes, Canva design training was what I give more hierarchy to. And so, yes, very correct. You're correct. So these two elements was giving more hierarchy to, was priority to hierarchy, right? I gave them, make them more large. And this is what make my design interesting. It gives it this, instead of when you just come and then everything is just so busy. It makes your design busy when you make all of them so big, give them all of them is the same weight. At the end of the day, where is the hike? Where's the attention of your audience going to? Okay, so let's look at this other design. Just also tell me what element is, take this other design at the right hand side, what element is giving more hierarchy, more weight? Yeah, I'm waiting. Okay, Sarah say kindly explain again. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so image, okay. Trust piece image, okay. The image type, the texture, okay. Image of IoT followed by the text design challenge. Okay. Oh, that's true. Yes, that's it. It was this image. Okay. Yes, that's correct. Refit, you are correct. Okay. So let me quickly explain that and move on. Let me quickly explain that again. So hierarchy simply means giving your elements different weights. Okay, you're not making all of them have the same weights, and this makes your design interesting. It's just arranging them visually in a way that's convey the importance of each element. You understand? So that is what hierarchy is, and I've just shown you using this example. Okay, and Sarah, I hope that explains it. So we'll move into another another principle, which is what? Alignment. Now, another principle which people do not take into consideration is alignment. In short, if there's anything that that so irritates me when I see designs is not following that principle of alignment. Okay, it is so important that you align your work. And alignment could be done. It could be horizontal alignment, it could be vertical alignment. So horizontal alignment means you are aligning your work to the horizontal axis. Vertical alignment means you are aligning it to the vertical axis. And this could be, let's say, left alignment, and it could also be right alignment. Okay. Then leading edge alignment. So there is a shape or there is something in your design that has a site of edge. So you want to align your elements to that edge. That is what leading edge alignment means. I'll show you in a bit. And then a center alignment. So it's just like this horizontal and vertical. So maybe there's a vertical axis. So you want to align all your elements around that vertical axis in a centered manner. Okay. So let me show you an example. So look at this. Look at this, the different elements we have here. Now, if you look here, it is all aligned, right? The elements are aligned. But over here, see what is happening? It is not aligned, right? Then over here, see what we have. This is the leading edge alignment. So all the elements, the text here and these shapes here, they are aligned towards this line here. This is leading edge alignment. Okay. Now I want to quickly do something and see. Okay, before I do that, let me also come back and ask you this question. Looking at this design again, looking at this design, Yes, it's yes. So what alignment do you see is happening here? Okay, remember I said for the vertical alignment, we have the center, we have the left and the right alignment. So over here, tell me what alignment do you see here is happening? What alignment did I give to my element here? No, it's not leading edge. It wasn't a leading edge, vertical alignment. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So I think so. Let me go back to it again. So follow me and see. Let's just let me go back to it again. So I said there are four. There's horizontal alignment, there's vertical alignment, there's leading edge alignment, there's center alignment. Okay. Now look at this. Let me zoom my screen. Look at this. Now see this element, this, and this. It is not aligned, right? I want to align it and see. What I'm doing now, I want to align it to the horizontal. I want all of them to be on the same horizontal axis. So horizontal means is lying down. So I click on 3 of them. See what I'm going to do? I will align them now, position. I click on this one. You see they are aligned, okay? So this is what I just did. So you see this top and you see this top, this line at the top. That means horizontal axis. So I've just aligned it horizontally. Okay, so I can also click on these 3, this element here, 1, 2, 4, 5, and then come here, position. I will align it. This is also horizontal. I want them to be on the same line horizontally. I click on it. Okay, so again, these ones, let me group this. Now again, now I want to align them on a vertical axis. I wish together. If you're following, just say yes, type yes. If you're not following, just say no. Yes. If you said yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I want to now all of them, each of them individually. Now see it as a section. See it as a section. Please just try and follow me on this. See each of them as a section. This is one section. This is another section. This is another section. This is another section. Each of these section now, I want each of these section to have a vertical axis. So I come here, I don't want to do it. So I come to position and then I click on center. Now what I'm doing now is the center alignment. You get? Is the center alignment. So say for example, this was, okay, let's say this and this, just these 2 elements, these 2 sections, this section and this section. I wanted it to be on the same. Please, can you mute yourself? Okay, so each of them now I want to align them vertically. I just click on this and then I click on this, right? Or maybe it will be left. So this is vertical alignment. You get? So let's say this was like this before and it was scattered here. Click on both of them, position. This was vertical alignment or to the right. So you can align it to the left or you can align it to the right. Okay. Now, we're not done yet on aligning these things. If you also see, again, I said these things could be different sections. You see that the space between this and this and this and this are not equal, right? They are not equal. So I want to make them equal. I want them to have the same spacing in between all of them. So I'll highlight all of them, and then I'll come here, click on this. So you now see that all of them has the same space. Each of these elements now has the same spacing between them. Okay. So I'll go back to my design, and I want to show you that I also took this principle into consideration when I was designing. Okay, so let me do this. So you see that this design is spacing from year to year, from year to year, and from year to year, year to year. They are the same. Now, the previous one, what I showed you earlier, I used boxes, right? It was boxes, but now this is the element, text, my lines, excuse me, and the shapes. Now, the spacing in between all of them was equal. That's also alignment, okay? So I hope that is understood. Let me know if you understood that. Sarah, do you understand that now? Okay, good. We understood that. Great. Okay. Then another thing I would like to talk about before we close is almost an hour. So this the typography, the text you are using. Okay. So again, I told you that the text is also very important. When you are using text, there are also some principles you need to put in place. You don't just put text. Okay, I'm designing for a church flyer or for children flyer. The ask is tech for kids, and you just put in the text like that. There are some principles you also need to also follow while using that text, right? And so, first of all, let's talk about the types of text. Okay, we have a serif text, we have sans serif, we have a script text, or you could say calligraphic text, and then we have a display text or decorative text. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So your serif text, it has this cap. Let me call it a cap. Maybe that's not the correct word for it, but that is this. It has this cap at the top, at the edges, right? It has this cap. You see, that is what a serif font looks like. Now, font like this that do not have this cap is what we call sans serif font. Okay, and then we have the script or the calligraphic type of font. Now, each of them also have different uses. Okay, so for most especially these scripts are used for decorations, or they could also be used to just for style and create visual interest. Okay, but if you are using for the body of your text, you want to use sans serif font or a serif font. You won't be using a decorative font or a script font for the body of your text, because it will not be visible. Yeah, it will be visible, but its readability will not be there. So people are struggling. Is this an A or a P? Which is another thing you need to consider when designing. At the end of the day, your design, again, I told you, is to solve a problem. So if people are having difficulty, and that is what some persons do, some people who may be pro in question designing, they use some font, and then you are confused. Is this an A or a B or a C? You, at the end of the day, you not solving the problem. You are rather confusing your audience. So you want to use fonts that are very clear for people to read. And even if you are using style, you are making to create visual interest, you still need to consider these things. Okay, so sans serif font and serif font are used for what? For the body of your text. Okay, so while script and decorative forms are used to create for style and to create some form of decoration. Now, some of the things I told you to consider: use eligible fonts. Then again, don't use more than 3 fonts. Okay. An expert may want to we dispute this, yeah. But for people who consider using more than 3 fonts, they have understood this design. They become so good, and then they can use more than 3 fonts, and you won't even notice. But if you are a beginner using more than 3 fonts, at the end of the day, you also make your design so busy. So you are using Montserrat here, you're using Bebas, you're using Poppy. At the end of the day, it's just scattered. Again, don't use more than 3 fonts. You can even use one font, one typeface. And now I'm confused. Now I don't want to talk about the difference between a typeface and a font. But just understand typeface and font, and I'm saying the same thing. But there are different. There's a difference between typeface and font. But I'm just the same thing. I'll take them as the same for the purpose of this class. So you don't want to use more than 3 typeface. So if you are using Montserrat, you can spice it up with another font, another script font, or a serif font. And I'll show you that in a minute. Apply the other principles like hierarchy, alignment when using type, okay? And then always give enough white space, okay? So you don't want to put all your elements, you don't want to make them so busy. There's no space between one text and another text. You also want to apply those other principles that we talked about when you're using text. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at how this text is being combined. Yeah, you can combine now. Again, this season's greetings. I'm just This seasons, this is what? This is a serif font. The season is a serif font. Look at it's a font that has this cap at the top. So it's a serif font. Now I'm combining it with what is sans serif font. Sans means don't know or without serif, without the cap. So it's sans serif font. And then you can combine text like this. It gives it this interest. It still makes it interesting. Again, you want to combine is sans serif font that has a long height with another sans serif font that has a short height. This again can also make your design interesting. And then you can combine a calligraphic, which is also a script font with a sans serif font. Again, you can also make your design interesting in this form. Okay, so yeah, we'll stop here because of time. And I believe we've learned one or two things. But I just want to give us, before I come to the main assignment, I saw this design while I was preparing for this course. I saw the design. I know this design was done on Canva because this frame, looking at this frame, but please, I don't know if the person in the picture is here, but I'm not castigating the program, whatever. I'm just talking about design. Let's concentrate on design now. So look at this design. Tell me, there's one principle that is actually missing here. There's one principle that is actually missing. I don't want to talk. There are a lot of things that are actually not followed or so, but one just comes to mind so quick and like, what is this? Okay, so if you can actually spot it out, and again, maybe the next class or next class will actually be redesigning. This will be one of the assignments I'll be giving. You will design this knowing with the knowledge of design principles you've learned, you design this and correct the drawbacks that this design has. Okay, so tell me in the group, on the chat, what principle? Okay, somebody already answered. People have been answering. So hold on. So okay, so Trust P said alignment. Okay, yeah, that's true. Balance. We're not talking about balance, but yes, alignment. There is no alignment. Thank you. Hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy. Not really. There's hierarchy because what I see first is structure your business in 12 days. There's hierarchy, but there's no alignment. Everything is just so. Is this person following center? Is it center alignment? Is it vertical left alignment? A whole lot of things just going, and then at the end of the design it lacks that beauty. So alignment is not there. Good. That tells me that we actually follow we understood what these principles are. So we'll talk about our principles in the next class. I will talk about it and then we'll talk about the thing we have for the next class. So I want to stop here because of time. Yeah, I will stop here because of time, and I believe we've learned one or two things. So I'll just open space for one or two questions. So if you have questions, let me know. Yeah, does anybody have question? If there's no question, we could call it a day, give you the assignment, and then we'll call it a day. Is there a question? I'm trying to. If there's a question, you can just speak up. Yeah, I want you to speak up this time. I don't want it to be on the chat. If you have a question, unmute yourself and ask the question.
All right, thanks so much for the session. Because of the, I would say, track and transitioning into that and product management, so need to be able to distinguish talking about user interfaces. But for me, I'm not so good with colors. So I'm just wondering what exactly am I to do just to, for one to be able to have that, I would say, just to be able to say, oh, this blends with this, things like that.
Okay. I understand that. Give me a minute. I'm trying to.
I don't know if you
Yes,
got my.
Yes, I did. So I got your question. So using colors while designing. Um, so the for this class, as a product designer, you may not get a full details of how to combine colors and use colors, because what I'll be teaching here will be like a shortcut, because Canva has even made things easier. You want to pick colors, combine colors, use a color palette. Canva can just make it easier for you. But then what I would advise you to do is, first of all, those things, the color wheel, I showed you the color wheel, though I didn't go into details. So understand the primary colors and the secondary colors, okay? But I still believe if you follow through to the end of this class, you will still understand how to choose colors. So maybe as I'm giving you a design, you can choose color from the background, okay? So which color should match with another color, okay? You could understand, you could get understanding of these things. But if you want to go into color in details, first start with the color wheels. It is so important. I make my emphasis on the foundation. Put on my screen again. I make emphasis on understanding the foundation. And sorry, I want to just divert a bit. And you see the introduction of AI, artificial intelligence coming in, and a lot of people are just diving in and do not understand the foundation. And I smile and I laugh. There's this group of graphic designers I am. Then somebody posted something, I just smile. What he posted was that a client gave a designer to do an illustration, a digital illustration. The person did the illustration using AI. It's actually a joke anyway. He gave the client, and the client had a correction to do. Now, how is the person going back to AI? Because AI has to do a prompt, right? You just put in a prompt and you get your output, input, output. What is in between? The process has been wiped off. The foundation has been wiped off. Just put input and you get output. Now, how does this person go back and make these corrections? The client has said, oh, okay, it's good, but this, let's make this correction on these things. If you do not know the foundation, the process, how this process came, you have difficulty. Okay, so sorry, I just divided, but that's the essence of this class, having the basic knowledge, foundational knowledge, which is actually the principle of graphic design. Now, back to your question, you need to understand that colorway. Learn the primary colors, learn secondary colors, analogous colors, monochromatic colors. Learn all of those details. When you understand these things, even while I've known design for years, I still go back to this foundational knowledge. It's very important. In short, I wanted to do a branding for a client. What I had to do is to go back to understand, okay, this business is a technological business. It has to do with finance. What colors has to do with finance? How can I combine these two colors? You understand? So you need to go back to the color wheel, understand this foundational knowledge. Since you've actually been using colors often and you want to use it very, very well. I don't know if that helps, but that is the best I can explain, because truth be told, I will tell you that
to a large extent.
Okay, so this basic knowledge will not just be all what you need. Okay, you still need to go in depth. Okay, but definitely you're going to learn some things, some tricks that I've been using to quickly combine colors together. Okay, any other question? Any other question? Okay, there's another question. Okay, so just one person, tell me what you learned new. Just be sincere. Okay, so tell me what you've learned. You just one person. Just tell me something you've learned new. Oh, I didn't know this before, but now I've known it, and this is what I've learned, and this is what I'm going with. Yes, just one person. Somebody's talking. Oh, we all knew these things before. Interesting. That's good.
Okay, so for me, it was more on the text. I mean, most times I try to do designs, I tend to use my brand's font, which is Boto, but I noticed that there was always an issue when I had to mix it with Montserrat. So with this, it's better for me to understand how to mix those fonts. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Refit. Okay, so the assignment is this. Also drop it. I could also choose color from the brand of logo. Yes. So brands, like I told you earlier, brands has their colors, right? So we already knew why I talked about the GT Bank and also the First Bank. So if you are designing for brands like that, you just have to stick with their colors. You don't have to start thinking, oh, should I use this color or this color? Okay. And even if you see some brands who are so strict with using their brand color, even during the Christmas, I saw some brand, even during Christmas, they didn't go off using maybe red, white. They stick to their color brand. All they need to do is just maybe look for an element, which is these trees, and try to look for a way to unanimously blend it to the design. You understand? So you could also use brand colors. You can play around with brand colors. Yeah. Thank you, Isaac, for that. Okay. So this is the assignment. Okay. So I want to really know, first of all, if we all knew about it means that everyone here knows about principle of design before. Is that true? Everybody here knows about the principle of design. So I want to know first before, because if we already knew about principle of graphic design, then maybe this assignment may not be necessary. If you didn't know about principles of graphic design before, speak on. Wow.
Hi, Lucky. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
So, like I dropped in the chat, I actually learned more about the elements and the principles. So, I think for one, the assignment you want to drop might be very important for me because, yeah, thanks.
Okay, that's nice. So, there's somebody who had gotten to know about principle of graphic design. So the assignment is this. I also write it on the chat. I dropped a Google sheet on the group, right? Yeah, Google sheet now. And I asked us to put in our username. So go back to that. So the assignment will be on the Google sheet. Just create a Google Doc, and then this will be the assignment. The assignment is simple. Look for two. Let's look for 5. Yeah, 5 is okay. Look for 5 designs, and then on that 5 designs, may be good, may be bad designs. Look for 5 designs, and then make reference, because again, this is very important. And I also talk about this during design process. You appreciate the assignment when I talk about design process. I come up with designs. Okay, I come up with designs. I don't just there's nothing like is it magic inspiration whereby you just sleep in the night and then inspiration just came from the blue. No, all inspirations, and trust me, whether for every creative, whether a musician, for a designer, a copywriter, all inspirations comes from what you've consumed. It is what you've consumed that you use in getting inspirations. Okay, so now the assignment is look for 5 designs, and then look at how this element, look for the element they use. Actually, the question is this: what this element is doing? What's the purpose of this element? So they put an image. So let's say birthday. Obviously, the image is what? To tell more about the person who the celebrant, right? Just put it in that way. Look for 5 designs. Look at the elements, the individual element that were used. What's the use? So look for 5 designs. What's the use of this element? Each of the element that was used, identify them and talk what's the use. And then what are the principles that they followed, right? So they use the principle of hierarchy here. They use the principle here. If there's any principle they did not follow and which you think is lacking, also put it down. Okay, so do that on a Google sheet and then place it, put it on your name. So for everybody has a username. For week 1, that is the assignment. Just place it there and give me access. I should be the only one who have access to it. Okay, I'll drop my email also on the WhatsApp community. I'll drop my email there. Just give only me who have access. So I just go there. I'll check the assignment. So this is what we're also going to be doing for each of the 4 weeks. Okay. So we're going to be doing that. I'll be dropping assignments after each class we've learned. Okay. So thank you everyone for showing up. And I believe it wasn't a waste of time for anyone who joined. I think we've learned 1 or 2 things for those of us who actually learn. Because some persons are saying they already knew all these things before, and it's interesting. Good. So maybe in the upcoming class you still learn new things. Okay. Sure. Thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you, Redfee. Thank you, Olapide or Olalawa. Okay, so I'll end the class now. We would communicate more on the community. I assume that everyone is on the community, right? The WhatsApp community. Okay, that means everyone is there. Okay, so thank you everyone for showing up. We can exit the meeting now. We'll talk more next week.